Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today we are going over my new Adamancipator Magnet Warrior deck profile. This is going to be a budget variant. For you guys who want to see a full budget build of this, just let me know in the comments if that's something you guys are interested. But for the sake of this video, this is going to be a budget $100 deck. So if you guys have been wanting to fiddle around with the Adamancipators, trust me, you do not have to have Researcher in order to play this deck. It is still very playable if you splash it with other engines like the Magnet Warriors. So that's what I want to do here, as well as like if you guys want to just sort of play around with a great old anime deck, because Valkyrion the Magnet Warrior was like one of my favorite cards, still is. So I really wanted to put this deck together when I found out that they synergize with basically any rock deck. And this deck still rocks. I mean, this deck can still kick some butt, so please do not take it for granted. But besides that, let me know in the comments what other versions of Adamancipators you guys want to see. If you want a pure budget build, or if you, I will be doing for sure a full power pure Adamancipator build. But anyways, let's get on into the deck profile, and please guys don't forget to subscribe while you're at it. But we're going to be starting off with one copy each of Valkyrion and Berserkion. So Valkyrion really doesn't have any active effects in the deck. It's mainly just a beat stick, and it's here for the memes, or however you want to call it. It's just here for fun. This is overall just a fun deck, but oh wow, camera is just going crazy there. So basically what Berserkion does is that he needs to be first special summoned by banishing your Alpha, Gamma, and Beta, the electromagnet warriors, from your hand, field, or graveyard, which is very nice that it doesn't have, like, they don't have to be on the field. Basically, Berserkion is just like the way better version of Valkyrion, unfortunately to say. But basically what he does while he's on the field is he's also just sort of a beat stick. He's got 3,000 attack, but he does have another effect that when you have a magnet warrior in the graveyard, you can banish that magnet warrior and destroy one card on your opponent's side of the field. I really wish this was a quick effect, but it is what it is. So I am playing this deck as more of like a going second build, sort of just to break our opponent's board and in general just like OTK. And then also when this card is destroyed, either by battle or by a card effect, you can get back all of those banished Beta, Alpha, and Gammas and special summon them back to your field, one each. So it is very nice to have in the deck. And overall, these two guys, like, you can get them both on the field together, even in this build, and it's just a lot of fun. So then going on, we are playing two of the Alpha, and then two Beta, and two of the Gamma. So basically what these guys do is that when Alpha is normal or special summon, all of their effects go by normal or special summon, is that he adds a level 8 Magnet Warrior from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be your Berserkion usually. And then Beta, when he's normal or special summoned, he adds a Magnet Warrior from your deck to your hand. And then what Gamma does is that he lets you special summon one of these guys from your hand onto the field. So overall, these guys just synergize really well together, especially if you have like Doki Doki or something to pitch another level 3. You can get all of these guys onto the field and then get all of their effects off in some way, shape, or form, and then you'll end up with the Berserkion on the field. The final card that we are playing for the Magnet Warriors is just the one Delta the Magnet Warrior. You really only need the one, but basically he is a foolish burial for the Magnet Warriors, so he can just pitch one of them to the graveyard, which again helps set you up for the Berserkion, or for this card's second effect. What this card's second effect is that when he is sent from the field to the graveyard, he lets you special summon a Valkyrion for free, as long as you banish one of the Alpha, Beta, and Gammas from the graveyard. So overall, it's just a free summon. It's just an easier way to get out the Valkyrion instead of the traditional way, which we will never do because we are not playing any of the vanilla cards. So that is it for the Magnet Warrior lineup. Going on into our Adamancipator cards, we are playing, of course, the 3 Adamancipator Seekers. It is like the best of the Adamancipators that we are playing, because again, we are not playing the Researcher in this build, but overall, this card is like still pretty nice and cheap, and it just like does a lot of the work that you need this deck to do. But what this card does is that if you have an Adamancipator monster on the field, this card can special summon itself to the field, and then once per turn, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and then pick one non-tuner rock monster and special summon it to the field. So that just works really, really well. The card has to be a level 4 or lower. I should have explained that also, but it just works really great. We have a lot of level 4s, 3s, and a couple 2s in the deck, so you have a lot of good targets and a lot of synchro options to go off of this. And then that goes on next into our 3 copies of Analyzer. Works the same way, that it excavates the top 5 cards of your deck and special summons a non-tuner rock monster, and the rest of the cards go to the bottom of the deck. You really have to pay attention not to like shuffle the cards in, because I'm very used to doing that with my Morphtronic cards. Also with the Morphtronics, I always get these mixed up with Selfon, and I'm constantly reaching for my dice thinking I need to roll before I use these effects, but no dice are required. These cards just work so great together. The way that you special summon Analyzer is that your opponent has to have a monster on the field and you have to have no monsters, so that is a little bit hard, but again, that's why we're playing this deck as a going second build. And then next we are playing 3 copies of the Adamancipator Crystal Dragite. This card just rocks in this here. I'm really not trying to make the puns now, but yeah, this card does really rock. If it's special summon off of the effect of an Adamancipator card, you're able to draw 1 card from the top of your deck. And then along with the Raptite, what both of these cards do is that if you have the monster with the same attribute, so if you have the water synchro on the field or in the graveyard, or if you have the wind synchro on the field or in the graveyard, you're able to recycle them by putting these cards back to the top of the deck. So it works really, really nice. You only need 1 copy of these each in the extra deck, and then you only need to play these cards. I am playing the fire monster, but we don't really need to recycle him as much as these 2, especially like the Raptite is just so good for getting more and more advantage. And I mean, the Dragite helps set up negates and he pops up to the hand. So overall, the Dragite is just so fantastic in this deck. So that's why I like playing these cards. Also with the Raptite, so the Dragite lets you draw a card when special summoned, and when Raptite is special summoned by the effect of an Adamancipator card, you can take a rock monster from your hand or graveyard and put it back to the top of your deck. So it sort of recycles stuff just like how these cards recycle to the top of the deck. That effect really isn't that necessary, but if you are running low on some of your other rock monsters, you can go ahead and recycle some stuff right there. Going on then for the rest of our rocks, we are of course playing the 3 Block Dragon. You have to be playing this card in the deck, and this deck is going to be obviously getting switched up a little bit once the next ban list hits, if we actually ever get another ban list, because this last one was pretty pathetic. But basically what this card does is, it will be getting banned, I'm quite sure, but basically what this card does is that you can special summon it from your hand or graveyard by banishing 3 earth monsters, and then when this card is sent to the graveyard, basically you get 3 rock monsters from your deck to your hand, as long as their total levels equal 8. So and then also just keep in mind that while he's on the field, also your rock monsters can't be destroyed except by battle. So this card is just nuts. It just works great when it's on the field or when it's about to be sent to the graveyard. So overall, it just really helps with this deck. It helps with the consistency. If you're kind of backed into a corner, but you at least have this in your hand, you have like so many options of what to do. For our next card, we are of course playing 3 Kawaki Meru Guardian. So what this card does is that if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can just tribute this card in order to negate and destroy that monster, which is just really, really nice. Overall, you know, and it's a quick effect, so you can do it on either player's turn. The only thing is that you have to reveal a rock monster in your hand during your end phase, so just keep that in mind in order to keep him on the field. But overall, it's pretty easy because this deck is like 90% rocks. Then going on, we are playing 3 copies of Doki Doki. So this card should not really need any introduction, but basically what it does, it is a level 2, so it works really nice in this deck when you're picking stuff off from your Block Dragon and whatnot. But what Doki Doki does is that you discard a rock monster to special summon from your deck another rock monster that has the same attribute and level as that monster, and you can even special summon stuff off like the same card. So if you send an Adamancipator Seeker, you can just pick up another Seeker and special summon it to the field, which is really, really nice. You can only use that effect once per turn, but overall this card just really helps to make sure that you have the right stuff on the field. Then we are playing 3 copies of Gigantes. He's just a really great extender, helps us go into our rank 4 plays and whatnot, or just help extend our links. And then we are playing just 2 Sentry Soldier of Stones. What this card does is that if it's in the graveyard and you have all rock monsters on the field, including at least 1 monster, you can special summon this from the graveyard, and it's really nice that like it doesn't banish itself afterwards or anything like that. So you can recycle this effect every single turn, but just once that turn. So overall, he's just really nice. Again, just like another really great extender. Then for the spells, we are going on into 3 copies of Adamancipator Signs. This card is just great. It's a monster reborn for rocks, but if you pick up an Adamancipator monster with this effect, you get to add another rock monster of level 4 or lower from your deck to the top of the deck. So helps you to set up for the rest of your Adamancipator plays, and it's just another great extender. And speaking of extenders, we have 2 copies of Magnetic Field. It is basically the same thing as Adamancipator Signs, but for your Magnet Warriors specifically. So as long as you have a level 4 or lower Earth Rock type monster on the field, you can special summon a Magnet Warrior from your graveyard. And then also, if one of your Earth Rock type monsters battles and the opponent's monster in that battle does not get destroyed, you can return it to the hand. So that effect doesn't come up too often, but hey, if this card's on the field and you can pop something to your opponent's hand or back to the extra deck, it's pretty nice. And then lastly, just for like, again, another extender, Monster Reborn and Foolish Burial in order to help set up some of our plays. Foolish Burial is really great for your Sentry Soldier of Stone. You just send him to the graveyard. Or if you're just trying to set up your graveyard again for your Berserkion, you can just send away some of your other junk. Or if you have Adamancipator Signs in your hand and you just need to send an Adamancipator card, the Adamancipator Signs card does work with the effect of Crystal Dragite in order to, when it's special summoned by the effect of an Adamancipator card, you get to draw a card. So this is like just with Foolish Burial in this deck, you just have so many ways to extend your plays and set up your graveyard. Now, before we do get on into the extra deck, I do want to just show like a few of the more expensive options. If you do have researchers or access to them, you can always take out a couple of the cards in the deck. The main ones that are easiest to take out are like the Magnetic Field and the Adamancipator Crystal Raptite, if you want to take those out in exchange for like researcher. And then if you are looking to put in either like 3 copies of Nibiru or 3 copies of Called by the Grave, just to make sure either that your combos really go off, or if, again, this is a going second variant, so if you want to like take down some of your opponent's big plays, you can go ahead and work on some of that and take out 3 cards. You can take out the 1 Sentry Soldier of Stone, and then like 2 out of like any of these 3 cards here, like the Monster Reborn, because we just don't really need that many extenders, and like maybe one of the Gigantes or Quacky Mirror Guardian if you don't think that his effect is really that applicable to whatever people you are playing with this deck. But overall, these are like the cards that I would take out or consider for siding if you want to go for like more of these expensive cards. But the Nibirus are sitting at about $15, so if I want to stick under the $100 price point, this is the best way to do it. And I still think that this is a very powerful deck for fun casual play, or even just to take to locals. Like you could take this to locals and you'll still do some damage. But now on to the extra deck. Going on into the extra deck, we are of course playing all 3 of the Adamancipator Synchros. These cards are just really great in this deck, and they're so easy to go into. What Dragite does is that during your main phase, you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and then for every rock monster, you get to pop cards on your opponent's side of the field back to the hand, which is just nuts. If your opponent has like 5 cards on the field and you reveal 5 rock monsters, boom, all 5 cards go back to the hand or the extra deck, depending on where they're from, which is just really insane. Like this card has just such a high ceiling. It's so great, and that's why we play such a heavy monster count in the deck, is so that we can get like the maximum potential off of like all of these effects. But then also during your opponent's turn, if you have a water monster in your graveyard and your opponent activates a spell or trap card or effect, you can negate the effect and destroy it, so that's a once per turn quick effect. Then what the Raptite does is it works really similar to Seeker, Analyzer, and Researcher, but once per turn during your main phase, you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and then special summon 1 excavated rock monster. The difference, though, is that she can special summon the tuner monsters, so just keep that in mind, that it just has to be an excavated rock monster, so that's very, very nice. And then when you have a wind monster in your graveyard while this card is on the field during your opponent's turn, you can banish 1 card in your opponent's graveyard, which again is really, really nice for this current meta. Just anytime you can banish stuff from your opponent's graveyard is very nice. Then lastly, for the Leonite, what he does is he is a level 6 synchro, just like the Raptite, so really, really easy to go into. These two can like combo in so many different ways if you have the 4 or the 4 tuner and a level 2 monster, or vice versa. But what Leonite does is that during your main phase, you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and then add an Adamancipator card that you reveal, and then put the rest of the cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. So this can search out your spells or whatever you want to add to your hand for the time. And then besides that, when you have a fire monster in your graveyard during your opponent's turn, you can special summon 1 of your rock monsters from your graveyard. So that, overall, this is potential to happen. We have fire monsters in the rest of the extra deck, so while we're not playing the Leonite Adamancipator crystal, it still is possible to utilize his other effects. So then going on, we are playing, of course, 1 Naturia Beast. Really easy to go into this deck also, since we're playing so many level 3s with the Magnet Warriors. And then 1 Stardust Dragon. Here's our first fire monster, 1 Salamangreat Almirage. This is kind of just like my choice for the deck, because since this deck is a little bit slow and doesn't play as many extenders as the original full pure Adamancipator deck, I really do like playing the 1 Almirage just to help set up the graveyard. So if you have a weak monster that is a normal summon, so the requirements for this is it has to be a normal summon monster with 1,000 or less attack. So say you just brick into a few of your Adamancipator crystals, you just normal summon this, link it away for your Almirage, and then if you have an Adamancipator Signs in your hand, you can just special summon this back, and then you can try to get more advantage off this way. This card works really, really great with your Adamancipator Crystal Dragite, because that helps you draw a card off of the Signs, or just any other way that you have to try to set up your graveyard. Then going on, we are playing 1 Union Carrier. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, this is a budget build, but this card has actually gone down in price by quite a bit. It's sitting at anywhere between like 10 and 15 bucks. So if you can Union Carrier and then put a Block Dragon onto 1 of your monsters, it's really, really nice. We are playing a few dragons in this deck, but I did decide to keep out the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword out of this deck. Even though we are playing Union Carrier, it is a going second build, so I just didn't think that the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword really had a place in this deck. Then going on, we are playing the full Nightmare Brigade, just because I like the opportunity of going into these. Plus, again, Nightmare Phoenix is another fire target for your Leonite for the graveyard. And then you also have an Earth monster to set up your graveyard for your Block Dragon. Then going on, 1 Decode Talker. This is a budget build, so Decode Talker is just still really nice. 1 Saryuja, this card is sitting at like $1 right now. And then Borrelsword Dragon, or you can still make this Borrelo Dragon if the price point for this deck is still getting a little bit too high. And then lastly, for 2 XZs, we were playing 1 Abyss Dweller and 1 Gallic Granite. Gallic Granite, you just got to slap it in because this is a rock deck, and this card is still really not sitting that expensive either. So you can fit, again, all of this stuff together for a $100 budget. So guys, I really hope you like the deck profile. But if you guys do want to stick around for a quick combo, I'm going to show you just sort of a quick run-through test hand of what this deck can do. Alright guys, so for this combo we are just going to do a random 5-card draw. I guess we will just assume that our opponent has a couple monsters on the field, especially if we get the Adamancipator Dragite out onto the field. So 5-card draw, and since this is a going second variant, I guess we will also pick up 1 extra card just to see what we can get for our 6-card draw, essentially. So right here, again, this really isn't that great of a hand, but like I mentioned, we like to combo the Adamancipator Signs with our Dragite, so I believe that's what we're going to do. We're just going to summon the Dragite, and we will link that away right away for our Salamangreat Almirage. Now that we have an Adamancipator in the graveyard, we're going to activate Adamancipator Signs. Doesn't have to be an Adamancipator, but I do like to do that because now we can use the effect of Signs. Since we brought an Adamancipator back, we can add one monster from our deck to the top of the deck. So we will do that and put that right on the top, and then chain off the effect of Dragite, which will allow us to draw a card. So now that we add Adamancipator Seeker, we will then just special summon it off of its own effect, and now we will pick up the top 5 cards of our deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I really shouldn't have picked up all of them, but yeah, so there we go. We have 5 cards to pick from, and now we get to special summon one, and I guess we're just going to go with the Doki Doki. That sounds okie dokie right there. And we'll just put them in the bottom in any order, it really doesn't matter. So we will just activate the Doki Doki's effect and discard off our Sentry Soldier of Stone, which will allow us to pick up another level 3 from the deck and special summon it. So we will special summon off the we're going to add special summon off the Beta, which will then add Gamma into our hand. So now what we're going to do is we are going to synchro off these two and then go on into our Raptite. Activate Raptite's effect in order to search off the top 5 of our deck and special summon a rock monster. And I believe we are just going to pick up the Alpha, the Electromagnet Warrior, and we'll put those to the bottom in any order. And Alpha's effect will then go off, allowing us to add a level 8. Where's he at? Berserkion, that's what I'm looking for right now. I believe I just shuffled my deck and now I lost him in the deck. Berserkion, there he is. So we will pick up the Berserkion and add him into the hand. So now we have everything that we need to make the Berserkion. We can then go ahead and link away. How about we link all 4 of these away to go on into our Saryuja. We'll use Saryuja's effect in order to special summon out the Doki Doki, and then we will activate Magnetic Field in order to use the effect of Magnetic Field with Doki Doki on the field. Now we can special summon out, how about we'll take back the Alpha. And from here what we would do is we could actually just link these 2 away and go on into our Nightmare Cerberus. So with Cerberus on the field, then we would be able to discard our Adamancipator Signs and then blow up one of our opponent's monsters and draw a card. And now we could also special summon off this Block Dragon by banishing 3 Earths. So we will do 1, 2, and 3 Earth monsters, banishing them in order to summon the Block Dragon. And then we can link these 2 away to go on into our Union Carrier. So with Union Carrier and Block Dragon, we will activate Block Dragon's effect, and we will now we have to figure out what we want to add. So off of that effect with the Block Dragon, we're actually just going to pick up 2 Gigantes right there, and we're going to be able to utilize him for some other plays. So we will just special summon both Gigantes by banishing 2 Earth monsters, so the Cerberus and the Block Dragon. Now with the 2 Gigantes on the field, we will activate Union Carrier's effect, and we could either put the Block Dragon on one of these guys or onto the Raptite. That way it would have that for next turn when if it goes away, then we get the Block Dragon's effect off again. But in this instance, I think I would actually just attach another one of the Magnet Warriors onto here. So from here, what we will do is we can XZ these guys into either our Gallic Granite or our Abyss Dweller if we want. But I think we will detach, pick up from Gallic Granite, and get another Block Dragon into the hand. So then with that, we now have our full setup of all of our Magnet Warriors that we need for our Berserkion. So Berserkion will now be getting an added bonus of attack from Saryuja as well as these 2. And then we will banish the Beta, the Alpha, and then also the Gamma from in our hand in order to get out the Berserkion. And then since we set up another Magnet Warrior in our graveyard, we can banish this with Berserkion's effect to destroy another one of our opponent's monsters on the field. For our final move then, I think I would actually just banish off the Gallic Granite as well as the Gigantes and Adamancipator Seeker. That way we, overall then we have the Block Dragon on the field in order to stop any destruction except for battle. And now we have a couple of pretty good beat sticks on the board. We have Berserkion at 3,300. So overall, this is a pretty decent board, and we destroyed two of our opponent's monsters, one with the Berserkion and one with the Nightmare Cerberus. So overall, like for how a budget deck should operate, this deck is still very, very powerful. And also, let's not forget we have the magnetic field on the side here for if we can't destroy one of our opponent's monsters by battle, it will still pop that card to the hand. So we can still get rid of some of our opponent's other problem monsters as well. So guys, I really hope you liked the deck profile and this quick little combo tutorial. So yeah, I guess we'll catch you guys next time. And again, let me know in the comments what other variants of Adamancipators or like full or lower budgets of any of my other decks you guys want to see. So we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.